In the last few hours, there seems to have been a sudden turn of events in the SSPX case, and it concerns every Catholic. Let's understand what's really happening, because what's emerging in these hours could change the balance between Rome and tradition in a completely unexpected way. Let's start with the facts. On April 28, 2026, Vatican journalist Diane Montagna published a story on LifeSiteNews that quickly spread across traditionalist circles around the world. The Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith has already prepared a declaration of schism for the Society of St. Pius X, should the Society proceed with the episcopal consecrations on July 1st. Cardinal Fernandez has signed the document. That's not all. Montagna also reveals a detail that speaks volumes about the certainty with which Rome prepared to act. The Dicastery was already organizing the pastoral reception of the faithful who might leave the society after the excommunication. This wasn't just a hypothesis. It was an operational plan already underway. 2 days later, on April 30th, the website Stilum Curiae, the voice of Vatican correspondent Marco Tossati, bluntly headlined, "The decree of excommunication for the priestly fraternity of St. Pius X is ready." Vatican sources are clear. The text follows exactly the model of the document signed by Cardinal Bernardin Gantin on July 1st, 1988, the same historic day as Lefebvre's consecrations. The excommunication would be issued immediately after the new consecrations of Écône, and then something unexpected happens. Messainlatino, one of the most widely read Italian traditionalist websites, publishes a headline in early May 2026 that sounds like a turning point. SSPX consecrations in 2026. Rome seems to have decided to take a break. Excommunications. No official statement. No Vatican statement. But reliable sources agree the excommunication won't arrive before July 1st. And here comes the second element of this story, perhaps the most important. On April 13th, 2026, the Vatican officially announced an extraordinary consistory for June 26th and 27th, 2026. The theme chosen by Leo XIV for the consistory, he wrote it himself in a letter to the cardinals, is starting again from Evangelii Gaudium. The liturgical question, as Sabino Pacciola reported, will hopefully be at the center of the agenda. Leo XIV summons all the world's cardinals to Rome for the 2 most critical days before July 1st. Let's pause for a moment. The Society of St. Pius X in 1988 had approximately 200 priests. After the excommunication, despite the excommunication indeed, thanks to the attention it generated, it continued to grow unstoppable. Today it has over 700 priests, 6 seminaries, approximately 600 parishes, and permanent centers around the world. Rome had excommunicated 200 priests. It had recovered 3 times as many. 20 years later, on January 21st, 2009, Benedict XVI revoked the excommunications of 1988 with the motu proprio Ecclesiae Unitatem. It wasn't a surrender. It was the recognition that the excommunication had failed to achieve its purpose. The revocation was the prerequisite for starting a dialogue that, however, 17 years later, has yet to produce a definitive agreement. But there's something the headlines haven't revealed. The situation in 2026 is structurally different from that of 1988. Lefebvre consecrated at the last minute. He was old, and he feared he had no successors capable of keeping the tradition alive. Father Davide Pagliarani and the bishops of the fraternity are young. The seminaries are full. The structure is solid and rooted in dozens of countries. A new excommunication does not affect a fragile reality. it affects a reality that is stronger than 38 years ago. Here lies the paradox that no one wants to name. Rome knows it perfectly well. A new excommunication could strengthen the society, not weaken it. The cycle of 1988 would repeat itself. Global media attention, intrigued faithful, and an increase in vocations. It would be the fourth time the fraternity's history has demonstrated that canonical crises don't destroy it, they strengthen it. And starting again from Evangelii Gaudium, the theme chosen by Leo XIV for the consistory is not an innocent phrase for traditionalists. Evangelii Gaudium is the manifesto of Francis's pontificate, an outgoing church, synodality, peripheries, dialogue. This is not the starting point of a pope seeking to reconcile himself with liturgical tradition. It is the starting point of a pope seeking to consolidate the direction taken in recent decades. The question that traditionalists have been asking for months is this: is Leo XIV using the consistory of June 26th to build consensus among the cardinals before issuing the excommunication? Or is he seeking in the silence of these days a way out that Francis has never sought and that no negotiator has yet found? 57 days to July 1st. The countdown has begun. Father Davide Pagliarani had already responded clearly in February 2026, no postponement of consecrations. The fraternity does not request permission, nor does it negotiate calendars. Lefebvre said it in 1988. Pagliarani repeats it in 2026. The Society's position has not changed in 38 years. There is one element of this story that deserves specific attention: the pastoral reception. The dicastery was preparing for the faithful who would leave the Society after the excommunication. This detail reveals Rome's strategy. Not just excommunicate, but welcome those who leave, weaken the fraternity from within, reduce its numbers. The same strategy that Tucho Fernandez had planned for moderate priests, a strategy that presupposes faithful ready to leave. But the Society's numbers suggest otherwise. There is a case in the history of the Church that deserves to be remembered. It was 1717. The papal bull Unigenitus of Clement V condemned the positions of theologian Pasquier Quesnel. Dozens of French bishops refused to accept it. The excommunications arrived. The bishops moved on. The crisis paralyzed the Church of France for decades. Tradition survived everything, and the bull Unigenitus is today a historical footnote, while the Mass is still celebrated. The time has come to answer the question we opened with. Rome will not excommunicate before July 1st. But this is not a victory for the Society. It is the last window before a historic turning point. On June 26th, the cardinals will gather in Rome. On June 27th, they will conclude their work. On July 1st, in Écône, the bishops of the Society will lay their hands on the new bishops. And then, the traditionalist world will wait. Again. Tradition isn't saved by Rome's decrees. It's saved by the faithful who continue to live it every Sunday in every chapel around the world. The Society of St. Pius X has endured 38 years of irregular canonical situation without ceasing to grow. It has trained priests, celebrated sacraments, kept schools and families alive. No decree from the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith has changed this. The Mass of all time survives, always. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you,